Hi everyone, my name is James Feeney. Welcome to or back to my channel. I wanted to hop on today to do a VR to Mary Grace Fahrun. I apologize if I mispronounced that. She posted a really awesome video that I personally was really loving about predictive reading or fortune telling in Cartomancy. I believe the hashtag is I am a fortune teller or something to that effect. It'll be below along with her original video, as well as Anna Astrolady's video, which I also saw, and it was the combination of seeing the two that really got me going about this topic, just because they were both very different, and both of their channels are channels that I watch and enjoy on a regular basis, and I think that this was so interesting for me, especially just because, and I hope that this doesn't seem like I'm putting either of them into boxes at all, because that's not what I intend to do ever. But Mary Grace spoke more so saying that she very much likes the term fortune teller, sees herself as such, and goes to tarot almost exclusively or very much so for predictive and fortune telling type readings. She has a family history where that's concerned, and that's sort of been her upbringing and background in Cartomancy. And yeah, I'm gonna say Cartomancy because she references playing cards and other sorts of cards. So that's where she stands. And then Anna at Astrolady Tarot spoke more so from a side saying that she does not do predictive readings or fortune-telling type readings when it comes to tarot with clients, and she spoke on that and how she uses it and her sort of history and viewpoint where tarot and fortune-telling and guidance are concerned. And I think that that's so interesting, seeing two professional readers have these very different ways of reading, and that they can in turn find like a common ground, or they can understand the opposing side and just sort of see that, and how they go about having clients that fit with the way that they practice and read tarot, and how the whole layout of readers, there's such a broad spectrum of us. So I read tarot, and I found myself sort of being conflicted here, just because this is something that I've struggled with for a while, self-identifying or figuring out how I identify as a tarot reader. I think that coming into it as a couple years back, it's not like I've been into tarot for like ages or for an extensive period of time, more like 4 or 5 years, but I entered very much with that fortune teller sort of stereotype view, and I saw myself as being somebody who would read like that, and I read like that for myself and my friends very early on. And then as time progressed, I think I sort of did a switch and started to follow along more so with psychological perspectives, almost shunning what would be seen as, say, like fortune teller. And I do think that on either side, I've been on either side and felt somewhat of like a judgment towards the side that I wasn't on, which I don't think is right, but I mean, that was the case, and I think that there is, to an extent, a judgment that goes on depending on what side that you are on. And it's funny because I've kind of not come full circle, but I don't think that I wholly or exclusively side with one or the other at this point. And it's funny, I guess it maybe just depends on the day. And I do catch myself making sort of judgments depending on the mood I'm in on a given day. So my opinions on Cartomancy, more so tarot and oracle, because that's what I use, and predictive and fortune-telling type readings. I don't see anything wrong with that. Ethically speaking, I don't see anything wrong with that. If somebody comes to you looking for that, and you are somebody who provides that, then that's fine. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The customer has decided, or the client has decided, this is what they would like. You say, I can provide that service to you. You both leave satisfied, hopefully, with the experience. I mean, if you are, say, the practitioner or the reader, and you don't believe in what you're doing, or you don't believe that you are actually predicting the future, or that you are a predictive type reader, and you're unsure of that, and then you try to cater to these needs, I think that that's where we can get into unethical type situations, or yeah, so it just, there's a lot there, but I don't think inherently that either side is wrong or unethical to practice at all. And not funny enough, but part of what got me thinking about this is, for the most part, a lot of the readings that I offer to clients are not what I would consider predictive readings, and I do think that Mary Grace raised a very important, almost calling people out, or calling me out at least, in that how do you read and not, to some extent, predict? And I think, very fair point, and it made me start to question the way that I read, readings that I've given, and there's always an element of what we are predicting, and she spoke on the multiple futures, and that there isn't just one, which I am so in agreement with when I do kind of make any prediction. It's based on the present choices and actions that lead to a certain outcome, and I think that even those who don't read predictively, when you almost look outward towards what will come based on choices and actions, I think that's like an area of overlap. So yeah, that's one that I will do with clients. That's a kind of like, I often preface it or qualify it as forecasting, that it's subject, those future type cards are subject to change based on actions and choices, things like that. So yeah, and I had family over for the holidays, and of course, these were family members that I hadn't seen in a couple years, so I've only been offering my services more so professionally, and for others for a few years, so they wanted readings, and they came with their own sort of ideas of what tarot is, what they believe it to be. As many people who aren't so familiar kind of have their own conceptions coming in. So they all wanted something different, but I do remember one family member asked for a reading about the future exclusively. They didn't, I kind of gave like a rundown of the types of readings I generally do to see like where they might, what they might want. They knew they wanted a reading, they didn't know exactly what going into it. And they ended up just wanting 5 years being read into the future of an idea of what to expect for the next 5 years. And I sat there for a minute and just thinking, this is so not the kind of reading I generally do for others. And how do I do this? Should I tell them that I just can't, or that I don't feel comfortable doing this? So it threw me for a minute. And I do think that part of the reason that I don't usually offer things like that is fear-based. For myself, I feel comfortable enough to do very much the fortune teller, very predictive like readings, and for others I don't, because I, of course, as Mary Grace said, you don't want to feel responsible for something that you say not happening, or something like that, and then you feel like you have either wasted the client's money or time, or that you might start to feel like a fraud. I mean, I personally might. So yeah, and then of course there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe I should be getting these like feelings, or like almost like vision energy type things going on. And if I'm not feeling so, like, if I'm not really feeling something, or almost like seeing something so like clearly, like if I'm not having this experience, I almost feel like, well, I'm just interpreting cards. But at the end of the day, I shuffle the cards, I lay them out. What we're really doing here is trying to lay out the cards for the client, for whoever's getting the reading, and then I'm the interpreter. That it's not my job to say necessarily have these explicit like visions or feelings or things that are otherworldly. The cards are here, they are the message, and I am the interpreter, and me solely just being an interpreter does not make it any less real in terms of predictive or fortune teller type readings. So I do think that there was a part of me that didn't want to do that because I was scared, or that I just didn't believe in myself. But I do actually believe in using the cards for predictive readings. I do believe that is something that is legitimate, and I do believe that I function within that, especially where I do tarot, when I do tarot for myself, or when I practice and do readings for myself. So why not offer that to others? Why not like break that barrier and just tear it all down and do readings in terms of assessing the self and internal reflection, introspection, all those things that I aim to do with a lot of my readings, and integrate sort of that more predictive aspect. So I do think that I operate in a place that's a little bit between the two, but as far as professional clients are concerned, it's not something that I advertise that I do. And I think Mary Grace made a really good point in saying that you see a sign that says, oh, spiritual counselor, or that we market ourselves, or not we, I don't mean to bring other people along, but say some of us, myself included, market ourselves in more of that spiritual counselor type role, or like the person who helps, or not helps, but like illuminates and just like works on the self pretty much with the person for that self-development type of reading and interaction. Now, there are so many people that I think are actually doing that and are very good at that, and that is where they sit. But then there's also a lot of us, and I'm talking about myself here, that yes, part of what I do is that, but I wouldn't say that I'm fully of that and doing that when I'm actually reading. I think that a lot of my readings incorporate that, but are also predictive in nature, and that I get scared to market myself in that way for multiple reasons, and then I end up just trying to market myself in a way that's not as authentic as it could be if I were just being completely frank with myself, and then in turn seeing that reflected in the way that I present or offer my readings to clients. So I think that that's also very interesting. I mean, where I read, there are, when I read in person, I should say, the place that I frequently read in person is a shop that has readers on various days. Now, I haven't met these readers in person, any of them, but I do know, I like can see via like the website and their social media the types of readings. So a lot of them actually are more predictive in nature, or like mediumship, past life type readings. And I guess I'm more so the reader that's like there that doesn't read in that way or capacity, and is much more so of that self-growth, spiritual counseling, reflective nature. And that's just where it is, or where I'm at. But I do think that I would like to confront my fears in regards to what is holding me back, or prohibiting me, or how I am prohibiting myself from being authentic in the fact that I do believe in predictive readings. I do predictive readings for myself, and why I am not comfortable fully offering those services in their entirety to my clients. And I don't think that that means that I am a wishy-washy reader. I don't think that this means that I am an ineffective reader. I think that the readings that I give, I wouldn't offer readings if I didn't think that I could really deliver and offer something to the client. So that's not it, and I do think that I can grapple with these issues while still offering my services and being a reader for clients. I don't think this is something I need to take time away from, and that, in short, I don't think my journey in coming to terms with where I stand as a reader will have any sort of adverse effect on potential clients. So it's not like I need to close up shop while I figure myself out, but I do think that this is something that I do need to figure out for myself, and I do think that in time I'll reach a common ground where there will be balance, and I feel as though I am offering the spectrum of readings that I feel comfortable offering from a genuine place. That's my goal. So ethically, I think both camps are perfectly fine. Nothing is unethical to me about either. I think that raising awareness and sort of squashing stigmas regarding sort of I mean, a lot of people come to tarot still expecting it to be this fortune-telling thing that is almost like hyper woo-woo, and when you get people that are, quote, non-believers, it's from like a place of them thinking that you're going to tell them that they're going to die next week or something like that, and then they call bullshit on that, and meanwhile I'm sitting here and I mean, even my family was joking about it, like, oh, are you gonna predict that that this is gonna happen and whatever, and I was, how do you respond to things like that? It's very difficult to navigate. Of course, at the end of the day, they were very respectful and open to the readings if somebody is disrespectful, not open if they're cracking jokes, and really just going to make a mockery of the whole thing. I will refuse, which fortunately I don't think has happened at all in my recent past, although I do think it's fine to make lighthearted jokes if ultimately you are taking the reading seriously. Yeah, there's just a lot of work to be done, and I do think that there's not necessarily a divide I see, but we do have people that sit more so on the side of the predictive readers who may self-identify as being fortune tellers, and we do have the more psychologically spiritual guidance, self-development type readers on the other side. And I think it is great. I think we have, for the most part, very respectful people on either side who can interact, and it really creates like a diverse community. But then I myself, as an example, so I do this and I see this being done, see judgments expressed towards the other, maybe not so blatantly and outright, but just you see them here and there, and I think that sort of just having an understanding and understanding, I guess, like the beauty or the necessity of both within this community, and how it can just make us so powerful and diverse as readers to know that we have such unique individuals amongst our ranks is really important and awesome. And I personally love watching channels of like from one extreme to the other, and I think there's just so much to be learned, and I love seeing readers who sort of come into their own and have very unique perspectives on these topics, which is why I'm hopping on and why I'm seeking out this hashtag to watch other people's videos, why I watched Mary Grace's and why I watched Anna Astrolady's video. And I think in seeing those two sides that to me seemed significantly different, it made me very interested, and that's how I wound up feeling inspired to make a video on this topic where it's concerned. So I hope that contributed something to this discussion. Thank you so much, Mary Grace, for starting this wonderful discussion and hashtag VR thing. Yeah, I hope you guys are all having a great day. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me know down below, and I will see you all soon. Bye.